All right, babe. What are we talking about tonight?
Well, we're still pregnant.
What?
Yeah, if you can't tell if you're watching the video, still pregnant. And we thought we would just dive into a little bit about pregnancy and some feelings that are coming up now being overdue. Maybe from my side, maybe from your side. We haven't really talked about your side so much. And I think like the ultimate surrender, kind of get into that a little bit and what that looks like and how I work with that.
Perfect. Sounds like a great topic.
One, two, three, four.
You're listening to the Revive Couple Podcast. We're Michael and Laura, and together we'll explore everything relationships, personal responsibility, feminine and masculine dynamics, communication, and just some all-around real and raw conversations.
Drawing from our 18 years together with a bit of sarcasm, humor, tears, a few f***s, and lots of love, we deep dive into the male and female perspectives on relationships and navigating the highs and lows of life together. Sit back, grab your love mug, and let's get into today's conversation.
So you're still pregnant. I couldn't even tell. Well, I mean, you're doing an awesome job, if I can say anything to it. Obviously, I'm not the one pregnant, so and there's good reason I couldn't handle it for a whole vast majority of reasons. But yeah, how far past, I guess, are you at this point in your calculations?
So, I mean, hopefully by the time people are actually listening to this, we do have a baby in our arms because we are recording about a week early. But as I sit here, we are 41 weeks. Now, we're not going to get into that today because I have like a whole shift in my belief system around the whole measurement of pregnancy and dates and due dates and all of that. So we'll talk about that another day. But
Okay, we'll get baby out. We'll have then we can talk about all of that stuff and everything that revolves around it and everything you've learned this go around, right?
Yes. And quite actually, that is a really good idea. So stay posted for that because I have had very awesome conversations with lots of women, but particularly women who have maybe only had like one baby or are planning to have babies in their future, but have not yet. They're very curious about, what I have been learning this pregnancy. Lennox's pregnancy was very natural minded for sure, but this one is just deeper in the physiological aspects of birth and also the emotional side. So I think that there's a lot of really amazing things that I wish I knew the first go around, but to share with other women. But at the same time, today, I think because of where we sit at 41 weeks, I put that in quotes because it is an estimated time, which really truly fucks with your head. And I think that's what we need to go into is like the emotional aspect and surrendering. And I think we could share a little bit too. Well, I said what that looks like for me. I said how I work with that, but I felt like that was actually contradicting because I feel like you don't really work with surrender. It's more of a flow. So we can talk about that.
Okay. So how do you flow with surrender? Tell me that from a lay's person point of view.
Okay, so let me just share with you that I have been telling everyone, like you, our families, our friends, even our midwife, since I've been pregnant, that this baby is coming early, right? And I thought that I had a feeling it was coming early. Now, sitting here in the seat in this position, I'm like, oh, I know exactly why I was saying that and what I was trying to avoid. And so essentially, I thought that I could manifest this baby coming early so that I wouldn't have to get to this surrender spot because I was here with Lennox as well. And I remember it being uncomfortable, but I have definitely a different like emotional mentality towards it now. But I have to be here. This is exactly where I'm meant to be because there's so much continuing to come up for me. There has been so many emotional things I've healed through this whole pregnancy, but I'm not done yet, is how I feel. And that may sound crazy. I don't know, but I don't even care because I know that it's true for me. And so I wanted to bypass that intellectually. I was like, this baby will just come early and I won't even have to think about it. But I meant to be here. So all of the fears, all of the just like frustration and annoyance of like, I just want to be done. But this is the weird thing. And I'm feeling like emotional today. So maybe it will come out. I don't know. I'm already feeling like, I'm actually really enjoying being pregnant, which is like an interesting piece. So it's such a duality to be like, I'm loving feeling pregnant finally because I was like so sick and uncomfortable through most of this pregnancy compared to my first. But at the same time, like frustrated that I've been given this date, like this baby's not coming out, and I've been doing so much stuff. And now what's kind of coming up for me, I'm realizing, is like my people pleasing is coming up at a deeper level, but not that I feel I have to please anybody, but at the same time, people are waiting. Like my mom's here and she took time out of her life to like come and hang out to look after Lennox while we're laboring and, and to be here too, because like we want her to be with us. But that now I'm just realizing where all these feelings are coming up and like, you have some work to go and do. And I'm just like feeling everyone's depending on me, which is all my old tendencies, right? So a lot of stuff is coming up from like a deeper level. And I'm so glad that I have the awareness to recognize that. And I guess, like I was saying, we could go into some of my tools that I've been using. But okay, so does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, that whole thing is especially the people pleasing part, right? Like you feel like everybody's waiting around for you, and in reality it's not. Like stuff, that's life. That's what happens, right? And your mom's here for a reason. She wants to be here and just hanging out and enjoying time with her daughter and time with her grandson, and obviously her favorite in-law. Like, I mean, it's just she gets all that. And but I mean, and myself too. Like, I mean, work's work, whatever. Like that is what it is, and that's the reason I've do what I do now, right? Like, and can consult and like independent consulting. Like it happens when it happens, right? So obviously, I mean, there's things to do, but I mean, I've been doing so much here anyway. So yeah, like when you think about all that logically, none of it makes sense, right? Like when someone else can point it out to you, it's like, wow, okay, but it sounds way better in my head, so I'm going to keep it in that head, and that's going to be the story. But no, I understand all that stuff that you're saying. I mean, I get it. Not even just pregnancy, like, I mean, even for me as a guy, as a man, like even things when I'm in my past for work, right? Like deadlines were coming and things like that, and it's looming. It just hangs over you, and at the beginning you think you have a lot of time and you feel comfortable and you're just rolling, and then all of a sudden this date that just somebody pulled out of their ass is now it's magically, this is the thing that puts all this pressure on you and put pressure on yourself and on your body and people around you. So yeah, you don't have anybody to worry about. You just worry about you and get this baby out, but in your way, and it's gonna be healthy and happy, and yeah, everything will be easy.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I mean, I think the irony in all of that is that like
What? Oh,
I think that I might cry.
well, if anyone gets the opportunity to, you can use that as an excuse.
We don't even have Kleenex here. That's okay.
Did not plan for that.
No, I didn't think so. So I think that the irony in all of that, like everything you just said, is very masculine, right? Like deadlines and dates.
Yeah.
And so due dates are interesting because they're like a deadline, which is very masculine, but pregnancy and very much so labor and delivery, or like your birthing process, is very feminine, like the ultimate feminine flow, the ultimate trusting your body, flowing through your contractions or your surges, whatever you like to call them, trusting your body, feeling safe in your body, breathing into your body, being present in your body. Did I already say that one? So it's like, I just keep going back to this duality, right? Of like, and then you start getting pressure from like medical systems and fear-based of like, if you don't have your baby by 42 weeks. So then I just knew in my heart that like when I hit the 40-week mark, and that's why I kept saying, I'm going to have it early. I'm going to have it early. And then I don't even have to have these conversations. But I just knew that it's like, now there's a restriction. So like I said, okay, rewind a little bit. I also wanted to throw in there too that like our two nieces and nephews have their birthdays like a week apart. And coming up to the one birthday, I was like, okay, baby, come. Okay, but you can't come today because it just like don't want to have a baby on their birthday. And then we like got through that one. And then now maybe I think partially why I'm feeling like emotional today is like, well, our niece's birthday is in like 3 days. So like I want to have the baby before her birthday, but not on her birthday. But then I don't want to have it like after her birthday because then that's like far away still. And I'm like ready to have the baby now. Even though, like I said, I'm fine with being pregnant, like I'm enjoying being pregnant. So it's like just the external pressure. So what am I doing about that? It's actually kind of funny. You know how, that like going on a bear hunt song that we used to listen to with Lennox, because it's like going on a bear hunt.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they like go through the whole journey to get there. But the overall theme is like at each obstacle they come to, they're like, can't go around it or can't go over it or can't go under it. Depends what the obstacle is.
Right.
And every time it's like does it say have to? Gotta
go over it. No,
gotta go, whatever it is, it's through it though, right? Like gotta go through it. It's not gotta go through it, but it's something about going through it. And so that's how I feel like this is like, I was trying to avoid getting to this point. Now we're here and I realize I'm like, I was never going to have this baby early because I needed to go deeper into the surrender of the people pleasing stuff, the letting go of control, the trusting my body. Like I've done so much deeper stuff too in really trusting my body and taking like my body back, which is another topic we can talk about in the future because of chronic pain and nervous system and where I detached from my body probably a long time ago. So really like feeling safe and at home in my body and trusting my body is a big part of this process as well. And knowing that like my body will and my baby will do this when it's ready to. But so anyways, so much coming up, but what I do, and this is what I'm going to go do after this podcast, because it's a lot different now having a second baby with now having like a 5-year-old, because obviously with Lennox, I had nothing else to do. I was just pregnant with my only child. But now I have to take care of him, or I get to take care of him during the day, which we've been doing lots of walking and like all that stuff. But then so I only have like a window of so much time for myself at the end of the day, right? So what I've been doing is when I have like really emotional days, I really like allow myself to just kind of like be in it and feel it. And then when I have this time to myself, so whether you can take Lennox for an hour, like when you guys go to jujitsu or go to the store or whatever, or else after he's gone to bed, I really like journal out all of my fears or like anything that's feeling heavy, like just list it and essentially bring awareness to it. And I've had so much unconscious stuff come forward because I allow space for that to happen, that I was like, oh, I didn't even realize I was holding on to that, or that this was a fear I was associating with birth or with having a second child or labor. And then because I'm also doing that, I'm having lots of interesting dreams. Like obviously you dream lots when you're pregnant anyways, but lots of like old memories and experiences coming forth that then are also reminding me about feeling safe in my body, or reminding me where I detach from feeling safe in my body and stuff. And so I do that, and then I go and I move my body. So I like dance, shake, something that I work with my clients on, just like moving the memory out of my nervous system, and then like turn it into dance and flow, because again, this is what pregnancy is. This is what birth and labor is that feminine flow. And then after that, I'll go back and like, so move all that energy through me. Then I will go back to my journal and write out like all of the things that I'm really excited for, or all of the things that, you know, I trust or feel safe in, and kind of take that back to the duality, take the other side of it, right? And oftentimes there's a good cry in there as well, like usually when I'm moving my body. And after I do that, it's really cool, because it's like that heaviness that I just felt all day is like typically completely gone. And so I guess kind of coming back round to all of this is, that's why I know that that's why I am where I am. Because if I didn't have a timeline, and I know that like I have to keep my hips open and I have to like move the energy through, and because of breath work and how much breath work I did before being pregnant, and then even through this pregnancy, and all of like the past generational birth traumas I know I have healed like ancestrally, but then even my first birth with Lennox, and then like the visualization process of having the new baby with breath work. Where was I going with that?
Well, visualization and all your breath, like all the breath work going into it, and just building yourself up so much, right? With all that.
Oh yeah. But also like, I just know that there's been so much healing process, and moving that energy through that, like hips in our wombs as women are the place that we store most of our trauma, a lot of our trauma. And that's conscious and unconscious stuff, ancestral stuff. Like I did some really cool breathwork stuff before I was ever pregnant, where like, I actually don't think I ever really told my mom this, but in some of my sessions, like I literally was like taken to like birthing babies for like my mom and for my grandma, and like, cause they all, like there's birth trauma going all the way down here. So just like really interesting stuff. And so I think I said timeline on like, I know that I have a timeline to have this baby in me. And so that forces me to do the work in a way now that I'm pregnant, because like once the baby comes, I won't be as adamant about making sure my hips are open and the energy is flowing. So I make myself like every night or every other night, like do my hip stuff, do my hip opening, do my journaling, do my movement, do my dancing. And so I know that, like I said, I know that's exactly why I'm, let's quote unquote again, overdue and surrendering into this process so much deeper, because there is so much like womb healing and hip stuff and root stuff and sacral stuff. And this baby, like, okay, so I'm going to say this out loud, recorded. This baby has to be a girl. I don't know. We don't know. And I've been like super hesitant to say, like with Lennox, I just knew he was a boy. Like there was just, I just knew in my heart that like he was a boy. And when he came out, and remember, we were just like so fascinated. And then finally they were like, well, what is he? Or what is
Yeah, we
this?
never looked, right? It was just
And then
like,
you
whatever,
looked
yeah.
there for like that second, because I wanted a girl the whole time I was pregnant. And then for like that quick second, I was like, please say it's a girl, even though like I had no doubts it was a boy. And you're like, it's a boy. So I've been again. So because I doubt myself now, because I'm like, well, I thought for sure I was having this baby early. Now it like made me sort of mistrust my intuition in a way, but also I just haven't had like a really, really strong feeling about what this baby is for most of the pregnancy until this last little bit. And I'm like, I feel like it's a girl. I totally do feel like it's a girl because there's multiple reasons, which we'll share again after we have the baby. But I will say, like, right now, because of the womb healing and like just so much stuff that I've been releasing that I didn't realize I had stored in that area. So this is why I feel like it's a girl. Like it's a girl who came to like help push all that stuff to the surface because I was ready now, right? I'm ready on a different level than I would have been 5 years ago or 5.5 years ago when I had Lennox. So that's where I'm at with, I mean, maybe in, a day or two, or now here's me being controlling, in a day or two when I have this baby. Okay, let's rephrase that. Whenever I have this baby, when we find out the sex of it, then we'll know whether I'm right or I'm wrong. But that's just my feeling right now.
Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, you gotta have something. Either way, it's gonna be pretty awesome. So I'm excited either way. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's funny that you talked about Lennox, and I forgot. I think about that sometimes, but I forgot, and then I brought up. That's a really good memory. It was pretty wild. Of just because he was so big too, and he was a baby, he was like a man just laying on your chest. Like, what is that? Is that a boy or a girl? I don't know. It looks like a fucking 40-year-old guy. But yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait for that.
I guess that's like another kind of fear that gets medically kind of put on. Okay, I have to take ownership of the way I'm saying this. So I've had this fear, and I've been working through it as well a lot with alongside the physiological side of birth, knowing that my body is okay and meant and more than like built to birth a big baby. But Lennox was a big baby, and so I was like, if I have him or have this baby earlier, then it won't be such a big baby, right? Because also, for anyone who doesn't know, Lennox was assisted with like the vacuum when he was born, and so there was lots of stuff around that, around like, my body wasn't built to do it. I failed. I couldn't do it. So there's lots of stuff that I worked around because I'm very hard on myself typically. So I should have done better. I should have, there's so many things I feel like I should have done. So that's definitely one of the fears too, where it's like, well, is this baby going to be even bigger? But again, coming back to trusting the body, trusting my body that even if this baby is bigger than Lennox, I can still birth it. My body is meant to do it. And I've created so much, let's say, energetic space there compared to 5.5 years ago. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I could probably go on and on and on because there's a lot of stuff that I've worked through in 9 months, but not all of it needs to be shared. But I share because
I care.
I share because I care. I share because I think that these conversations need to be had for women to understand how powerful they are and how built they are and how pregnancy is an emotional roller coaster, as I truly believe it's meant to be, because if you surrender and flow, which is the ultimate birth experience at the end, that there's just so much opportunity for transformation and healing and letting go and stepping, like, I hate to say stepping into your power because it's so like personal development cheesy, but ultimately, yeah, like when we work through this stuff, when we have the tools, when we have the awareness, when we have the support to work through so much of what's coming up for us in pregnancy, in labor, that we are different women on the other side of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're fucking growing a human. Like, it's a miracle of life, man. So there's a lot bundled into that. You can't just, it's not just like I don't know, whatever, 10 months and it's done. And that was like a thing in your life. It's like, no, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of miracles happening at the same time, and a lot of things. And yeah, there's just so much in that yeah, you can't even try to quantify it. I don't know how people do or why they'd even try to. It's just that's what it is, and it's got to ride that wave, right? Like you're saying. So,
Well, and it's the ultimate trust, right? Because there's so much uncertainty and you never know what's around the next corner. So, and you know, there's like positive things you can do or like healthy lifestyle and like all the things, but at the end of the day, you're in a very vulnerable state. Like anything can happen at any time, right? I mean, anything can happen to any of us at any time, but I don't know. It's just clearly I need to have a baby.
Get this thing out of me. Okay.
But again, I always say like there's beauty in the breakdown, right? Like I'm meant to be at this part because I'm probably meant to break down even deeper emotionally to create more space and whatever, surrender into whatever is next.
Yeah. Well,
Like a
yeah.
life lesson.
Feel it. I mean, it's real. Just enjoy it and feel it and take it in and enjoy all the support you have around you, and just remember to lean on that when you need it. And yeah, it'll be an interesting few days, really. Well,
You just put pressure on it.
said few in a couple. Anyway, well, let's leave it at that.
So what? Now you want me to have this baby in 2 days?
Wow. Got stuff to do. Weekend's coming up.
Okay, guys, this is like, I think too, to wrap this up, the perfect example of communicating with your partner, right? Because I didn't really have the opportunity to share that with you today, that I was feeling that way because we've been busy all day today. So like literally, this is the conversation that we probably would have had like before going to bed tonight. I would have like shared with you how I'm feeling and probably cried, and you would have held me. We're a little too far for you to like hold me right now. But we're also like, well, we need to record a podcast. So it's like, well, the opening of our podcast is that we have real, raw, honest conversations. So let's just talk about it and hit record. And so, perfect example of communicating, right? Feminine, masculine. And we talk about this in our free master class of Say What You Need to Say, where I felt heavy and I was like holding on to so much emotion, but just being able to share this with you and like let you in. Now we can joke about it, right? Like, oh, I have this baby in 2 days. And I actually literally don't feel like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. It is funny to me now to talk about it from that perspective and to be able to laugh about it, which in this exact circumstance is good because then that creates some oxytocin and maybe we'll have the baby.
Get me laughing. Even trying to watch comedies, nothing's funny anymore.
Yeah.
There's not even any. Yeah, I don't know. Everything just seems like kind of blah. Trying to find like comedy movies for you, it's like there's nothing funny. And then go to our old faithful, The Office, which is still funny, but it's just like doesn't have that same like tinge to it. And it's like, man, you need some like good belly laughs here. So
Yeah, the funniest things I've been actually laughing at lately are just Lennox, and he's making me laugh the most. But I just wanted to point that out, that again, this is like a real life example of what having like real, raw, honest conversations can do to lighten the mood, bring you closer, and joke about it.
yeah, well, no,
Joke about it, not
that's
cry
great. I
about
mean, that's where this all stemmed from, right? And I wanted to start recording those. That was over a few years ago now. So, yeah, no, it's great, and that's what it's for, and that's what we're here for. So, awesome. Well, thank you for that. I mean, there's a lot there, and it's great. It's awesome. Love you.
I love you too. But wait, there was one question I wanted to ask you, because like, how are you feeling from the masculine side?
I feel really good. I mean, I always say that as far as choosing like a wife, right? I've chosen well.
Remember, I'm very emotional.
Easy to say that right now. But I mean, it just, right? Like it's that's what I tell everybody. I tell that to guys all the time. I tell it to people I'm on podcasts with all the time is I don't have to worry about that stuff. Like I don't have to, that's not like how my kids are being raised or how my kids are going to be raised or how they're loved or how they're cared for. Like that's not even on my radar. That's just like the things I can control in that, great. And then making sure I'm there to protect you guys and make sure everyone feels safe. But the actual, like, my kids are great. Like they're going to be good no matter what. So it's easy for me. It's really easy for me. So I don't really have any feelings around that. here for you, really. That's the main thing, and just excited to see baby. It'll be fun. Whole new challenge again, but it'll be fun. So that's where I'm at.
Cool.
Okay, well, I love you.
I love you too.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Check out our offerings on social media at The Revived Couple and online at therevivedcouple.com. Have a request for a show topic? We love that. Send us an email at michael@larocquelife.com or DM at The Revived Couple.
And don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review.